Right, so in this video I'm going to go through the answers then for the task I set you at the end of the lesson for software development strategies and so on. So these exam questions cover quite a bit. So it starts off here looking at the waterfall cycle. So nice little opener really, 3 marks. The answers that you need for this question, quite simple really. You've got a number of different answers you could give for that. So feasibility study, requirements, analysis, design, implementation, testing, evaluation, any of those will get you 3 marks. So easy one to kind of get you going with. That's what it means by the 3 stages. So just list 3. It can be any 3. Number 2 then, justify why the waterfall cycle, life cycle, is suited to the development of the operating system. So the good thing about this one, it tends to suit large-scale projects. Yeah. So I know an operating system, development of an operating system will be a good one. That's a huge one. It suits projects which are stable requirements is another answer you could have as well. And basic requirements on like an operating system are unlikely to change, fundamentally really. Just in summary then, to get a couple of marks to that. So large scale projects is your 1 mark, and then give an example then of something that's large scale software wise. So something like the development of an operating system or a large piece of software. And again, you don't name any brands or anything. That doesn't get you any marks. So something like saying an operating system will get you a couple of marks there for that one. So you just define there, remember key term, saying something and backing it up with something else. Third one then, so one disadvantage of using the waterfall life cycle to develop an operating system, using that example. One really is kind of, if a change does occur in the requirements, it cannot easily respond to what has happened. Remember, so yes, you can go back, but later down the line, once you've finished whatever cycle you're on, part of that cycle, then it's going to cost a lot of time and money. So that's the kind of disadvantage for that really. It's not as flexible, I suppose, is what it is. Alright? So if you've got anything like that, that'll be good. And then, by the way, whilst I'm going through these, if you do find that you've got any queries about what you've written, by all means get in touch via Teams, and obviously I'll look at what answer you may have put down and check that. This is your 9 marker then. Remember that 3-pronged attack really for this. So you've got knowledge, understanding, application, and then evaluation. So I'm just going to break through, go down really what the knowledge and understanding is. So you need to look through the question. It's looking at a software company developing a mobile phone app. Basically, when you boil down to it, it's looking at waterfall life cycle and rapid application development. Discuss the 2 software development methodologies. Alright? And then obviously consider which one you recommend to use. So you need to really kind of break down both of those in the first opening paragraph or first couple of paragraphs to illustrate your knowledge and understanding for this. So waterfall, you need to say, series of stages followed in order. You can go back up, can't you, in the order, but as a clear start and end point. Then, it needs to follow back down in order as well. Okay, so it's quite rigid really, and it's got formal, documented stages, as I said, at start and end. Whereas rapid application then, you use prototypes. No formal analysis and design as such. They're quite quick stages to get things moving. More feedback is used then to influence the future stages, and that's kind of usually comes from the client as well, of what they think. It's much faster in its development. Are the main points for your knowledge and understanding. So for the application then, you then need to discuss a little bit more really of how the methodologies would support the development. Discuss, again, it depends what you've written really, the disadvantages as well. Alright, giving a kind of examples of those. Alright, I can we discuss a little bit on the knowledge understanding, but you need to just go a bit further in the application. Just basically show the pros and cons of each one really. And then for evaluation then, you then need to give like the benefits of a method, to kind of sum it up towards the end. So the benefits of each method and then the disadvantages, and then finally kind of say really, you know, what you think and give good reasons as to why. So if you're liking to kind of go more towards the rapid application development for a mobile phone app, then I'd say, you know, that's a good one. But again, with this, it says discuss. So if you do give good reason as to why, you know, the waterfall one would be used, then that would also be absolutely fine. Okay, moving on then. Okay, on the question number 3. Alright, so a software development team is writing a word game. The team is using RAD. Describe the RAD process, if you like. So this is question number 3. So very simple. We kind of discussed that a little bit more in the last one, really. You know, prototype is created. Yeah. Feedback is used to inform the next stage or next iteration. Then changes are made, and then the process then repeats then until you've got the final version of the product. Alright, so there are your 4 marks. So prototype, feedback, making changes, repeat the process, and then until the final stage has been completed. That's what you want for that one. So number 4. Alright, a company makes antivirus software. Antivirus software is, you know, example of a utility, as we know, using for the operating system. In order to keep up to date with the latest virus threats, the company is continually updating their software. The programmers use extreme programming to develop updates, and then the main part of the question here, what it's actually after, is explain what is meant by extreme programming and why it is a suitable approach in this case. So, extreme programming is a software development methodology. Focus on good quality code. Often, you know, involves paired programming. It again links with agile methodology as well. If you put that in there, that would get a mark. Designed to allow development, you know, to respond as well, changing to what the client wants, or you could call it user requirements as well. All right. And then other things as well to explain. So types of virus and threat is continually changing, so you can see why, you know, extreme programming will be used to develop something very quickly in order to combat that virus, you know, to detect the virus effectively. And that's what's used for that. Definitely works in that scenario. Number 5 then, the developer decides she wants to make the software program open source. Just linking a little bit back to the SLR 5, I think it was. Explain the benefits to the users of the software being open source. So remember, going back to open source, I know we didn't cover it in SLR 6, but it all links in. Open source, obviously free. You get a mark for that. You can kind of inspect the source code or recompile it. That sort of the code's open to view, isn't it? So you can see. It allows users to amend anything. You can tailor the program to specific user needs. So it very much links into what we've been doing in SLR 6. And the code is open, so bugs can be spotted more easily. So if you think about it, there's a wider user base, isn't there, that can see and check this. Not all done in-house as would be if it was closed software, if you like. Number 6 then. So a company makes antivirus software. Explain why a first come first served scheduling algorithm would not be suitable. So make sure you read the question. So would not be suitable. So first come first served means that jobs obviously are completed as they arrive. Yeah, like in a queue system. And it'd be ineffective, wouldn't it? Because, you know, the virus may run first, and in which case, you know, you're going to be struggling really to sort that out. So the virus checker may never run if it's at the back of the queue. Therefore, you know, it's never going to find the virus. And then you may find the fact that, if it is first, the virus checker may continuously run if it's constantly dealing with things. So it wouldn't work on many levels really. You know, it could stall the system, couldn't it? And other processes have to wait. So that's why, you know, that wouldn't work in this given scenario. Obviously, virus software runs kind of more priority, doesn't it? And obviously sometimes when the user checks or initiates that also. So if that makes sense for that one. Number 7. Professional photographer. Sarah carries out a digital camera and a laptop, and she keeps extra peripherals in her office so she can edit and finalise photographs. The laptop has both system software and application software, so you just need to describe really what the term software is. You've got to get this right in. I'm going to read it out. So the programs or sets of instructions that run on a computer system. So again, to get the mark there, it's only one. You've got to say sets of instructions that run on a computer system. You can't have any other waffly woolly answer. It's got to be that, right? So the programs or sets of instructions that run on a computer system. Part 2 then. Explain why Sarah needs both system and application software. So system software, you would get controls the hardware, doesn't it? And application software allow the photographer to actually carry out a particular task. So whether that be photo editing or anything like that. You could also have, manages memory more effectively. It could be something regarding the systems. If you've said something for the application side of things, provides a user interface that's clear and easy to use. Anything that gives it ammunition really for the app software. Systems more about control, isn't it? Controls the hardware. So thinking like managing memory, for example. Number 8 then. So the owner of a small shop has bought some new stock handling software and is setting up the computer system to run it. Alright, state the purpose of each of the following types of utility software and describe how the owner would use them. So file handlers, what does a file handler do then? So manages data storage, organises data storage, doesn't it? That's what it's going to do, and the use is really that for then used to delete, sort, move, copy files. I think what you do when you're moving files around in Windows, you manage the storage of software. You manage just the storage of the stock files, to access files. So you're going to use all of those different features, aren't you? So any 3 marks, this wasn't there. Yeah, so any of those really. So for that question, you really need to give a purpose. Alright, that's your first mark. So manages data storage or organises data storage. And then you get 2 marks for mentioning 2 uses. Alright, so if that makes sense to how that's divvied up there for that one. Same here really for the hardware drivers. So remember driver really, a software driver, a little bit of software, isn't it, that enables peripherals and the operating system to communicate with one another. So a communication bridge. The uses of that then, so that's your purpose for 1 mark. The uses of that then is to configure the hardware, so the user can change that then to how they may want it to run. Will be used to install a new keyboard or mouse or printer, so that's why it's used. Again, it's that communication keyword, operative word with that one. And the third part then, so backup utility, sorry. So the purpose of that then, pretty obvious these really. So to automatically make copies of files, to store them in a different location. Obviously, it's in case of any loss or corruption, isn't it? And then the uses of that then, obviously, to make regular backups, so you don't lose any data. Ensure, again, linking it to the scenario. Don't forget here, ensure that the sales and stock data is backed up, correctly, because anything that you would lose on there could be quite fundamental, really, couldn't it? Okay, number 9. I'm running out of time on my free video recording software here now, so I'm going to pause here and I'll make another video. It'll only be relatively short, just to go through the last few questions. Alright, so there'll be a part 2 to follow.